Now, you know, I like to bang on about minor parties, and I like minor parties particularly in the Senate, because if you are one of these people who says, oh, Team Blue's not blue enough and Team Red's not red enough, and you want to go a bit Goldilocks about it, then sometimes there are ideologically pure options that exist for people in the upper house. So put simply, if you're a lefty, you want a Labor government, but you'll vote for the Greens because you want the Greens to have the balance of power to yay or nay things so they don't go too out of control. If you're a Conservative, you want a Liberal government, but you might want one nation to take a position when it comes to immigration. Now, in this election, there is going to be a lot of people who are going to want to do that very thing. They'll want to have a Liberal government or a Labor government, but most likely, if you're watching us, a Liberal government. But the insurance that you're going to take out in the upper house, well, there's a lot of different options. And I want to explain why it matters even more than ever before. Right now in the Senate, there are 76 senators. 36 of them are Liberal and National, 35 of them are Labor and the Greens. But you need 39 votes to pass anything. So at any one time, the Liberals and the Nats, they need 3 of the crossbench to get anything done at all. Now, sometimes you can get around with 38 because there's somebody sitting in the chair. I won't bore you. I've already given you the high school legal studies lecture, okay? But if you have a look at the crossbench right now, the crossbench is made up of 5 people. 1 from Centre Alliance, 2 from One Nation, 1 Jackie Lambie, and Rex Patrick, who used to be with Centre Alliance, used to be the next Xenophon team, is now an independent. So again, put simply, for everyone paying attention, 3 of the 5 senators are needed for anything to pass because the government is in charge. 4 of 5 senators can block anything. All right? Well, have a look at this. The other vote, that is where those 5 people come from, is really high. It's nationally 10%. It's the highest level it has been in 4 years. We're back where I was stomping my foot and banging on about the ghost in 2016. It's 11% in New South Wales, where presumably, I'm just going to think off the top of my head here, if Craig Kelly ran in the Senate, he would most likely be the person most likely to get a big chunk of that 11% in New South Wales. In Victoria, I don't know, might be animal justice. In Queensland, that's the One Nation vote. Plus, of course, you've got the Liberal Democrats with Campbell Newman, and that's just a start. In South Australia, it's 10% and there's no real obvious alternative. And at 6%, well, that's not going to be enough to get anywhere near the 14% you need to get a seat to decide everything. So while we talk here on this show and wider on this channel all day, every day about the horse race, about Team Red and Team Blue to getting to 76 seats to form a government, who actually can get to 39 votes in the Senate is the one who has power in the country. It's why I talk about the Greens saying that they want to power share with Labor, because without the Green votes, they can't pass anything, let alone before they start to reach out towards the crossbench. That's why Greens promises are Labor promises. Because, of course, remember, their preferences deliver those numbers in the lower house. Well, today, there could be a big change coming to the race for the people who decide what happens after the election, not for the next 3, but maybe the next 6 years. Nick Xenophon says he wants to get back into federal politics. Now, Nick Xenophon at this stage is floating the idea, and it's a little Trumpian, will he, won't he run? But let's not pretend that this bloke can't run and win. Now, when it came to the state election a couple of years ago, he hoped that he would be able to come up the middle and become the Premier. Didn't happen, didn't even win a seat. But in the 2016 election that produced all of those different minor party people, where the threshold was low, but still, he absolutely brained it in South Australia. And right now, in South Australia, 10% of people are looking for something that isn't Team Red and isn't Team Blue. Nick Xenophon is able to turn around and say, I'm a little bit red, I'm a little bit blue, but often ends up just voting green. But that's his marketability. It's very successful. So I always say the same thing about minor parties. You can take out whatever insurance you want in the upper house because they might end up in the position to be the sole vote that matters. But you do have to make a decision about Team Red or Team Blue when it comes to running the country. So you should think very long and very hard about how you vote downstairs versus how you vote upstairs. But there are a lot of people around Australia that the media never talk about, who are the 10% of Australia that will actually decide what happens, regardless of whether it's a Team Blue or Team Red government, for the next 3 or 6 years. The Senate might be very boring to watch, but it really matters in terms of what we can and can't do in our country.